Hi everyone, welcome to Kats Creations live on Sunday, where today we are making a watercolor bunny. That's what these are called, watercolor bunnies. So that's what we're going to be creating. We're going to go ahead and get our 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame all wired up. So I've already done the first 5. We're going to go ahead and start wiring the last section, which is exactly how I did the other 6. So we are going to wire together the 2 innermost rails using the welds here as an indicator for a middle point. So I just kind of eyeball it. It's not going to be perfect middle, but it helps create stability on your ties. And then we're going to use this one in the weld to find a middle point, probably right where my finger is. And we're going to do the outside too, just like this. And then opposite on the other side, this and this, kind of find a midway point, wire together the inner 2. Just like this. Now you can buy your pipe cleaners at Hobby Lobby. I happen to get mine at a wholesaler here in California called Shinoda, because I can get them in just solid colors like this nice lavender color. But I know Hobby Lobby has them in like spring pastel colors. Those are really good to get because they're really sturdy pipe cleaners. So this gives you 6 on the inside and then 12 on the outside. The 6 on the inside is going to be occupied by our sign. So we are going to be removing these as we add our deca mesh to this.
Thank you for sharing, Rita.
Oh, that was the one thing I meant to do, was figure out how much we made in January. But I can tell you this, I know what we're doing for the fundraising for February. So there's an organization out there called Cup of Joe for a Joe. And what it is when our military is stationed outside the United States, there are like these little coffee places set up in the base camp, I guess, and it's called Cup of Joe for a Joe. So basically what you're doing by sending stars is we are going to be purchasing coffee for the service members overseas. So with every single star that you send, a star is equal to 1 penny. And now with the whole thing of not really sure what's going to be happening here in the future, I love supporting military. So that's our February fundraisers. We are funding a little bit of home for the men and women that are serving overseas so they can have a cup of coffee based on what we raised in the month of February. You can also do that on your own. Just go to a cup of Joe for a Joe, I think .com. I did it with our family a couple years ago, and it was nice because we kind of became pen pals with some of the people that get the little coupon that says, hey, a cup of coffee has been purchased for you from, you know, whomever. So that's what we're doing. And then on Friday, I'll tell you how much we raised in January. So whatever we raise in February, we will match it dollar for dollar. So I'm hoping that our fundraising efforts can get a little bit bigger so that we can really do a lot of good this year.
Charlotte said that sign is beautiful.
Isn't that pretty? So we are using, this is called a fabric striped mesh in natural and cream. So these are cut to 20-inch pieces and we're going to ruffle all of them. Why? Because the sign is a 12-inch round. So any other design that we do is going to you're just going to have like these little outside pieces. Like if you did curls or cruffles, you're just going to have these little tubes that kind of stick out around the sign. I like it to be a little bit more wavy and soft and feminine. So that's the look we're trying to achieve. So when you do your ruffle, you just kind of pick an imaginary line down the center and you'll just kind of pull the mesh towards you in like small little bundles. And then you're going to take this and you're going to lay the whole thing directly inside your pipe cleaner. You're using the finished edges are going to go to the inside and the outside. We're going to give it about 5 twists. We're going to snip this off. Peeks. And tuck that back in. Just like that. And we are going to keep doing that all the way around our design. This, because it contains natural fibers, cannot be cut with a wood burning tool. It has to be cut with a rotary cutter. But you can spray the ends with E6000 adhesive spray, which will help kind of keep the frays from getting way out of control. So when I put these down, I just put them in the very next pipe cleaner I come to, and I just work my way around to the right. Just like that. We're going to leave the outside ones in place. And I'm going to save that one for the inside. I have a tendency of saving the ones that are a little tighter, because you can tell this is closer to the end of the roll than the ones on the outside. People call this the scrunch method, the bow tie, because it kind of looks like a bow tie. So here we go, just opening this up, sliding this back inside, just like that. 2 twists, just to make sure that we've made it all the way around. And then we're going to kind of hold these together, kind of move them off to the left. And then now we're moving to the inside. Move you off to the side. So if you guys want to be notified when we go live, which is basically every Friday at 5 and every Sunday at 6 Pacific time, make sure you have liked and followed this page. And then when you do that, you want to turn your notifications on or make sure they're on. And the way that you can check is like right now in the middle of this video. If you click the dots in the upper right-hand corner, you should get a sub-menu that pops open, and it'll say turn notifications or turn live notifications on or off. You want to make sure that they're turned on, so that should you happen to be on your device when we go live, you should see a notification that says, hey, Kats Creations is now live. And if you're new here, let me know. Also, let me know where you're from. I'd like to welcome you to our page. Okay, this one's going right inside. 1, 2. And then
Marna says, a widow of an Air Force veteran that served for 22 years. I thank you for your support.
Aw, you're so welcome. Here to support our military at all times.
I said you're really getting some really cute signs.
So the sign is from Craft Outlet. I don't know if Craft Outlet still has it. They also have one that has 2 different bunnies in it, and it's more of a pastel color. It's got some pinks and orange and yellows in it. But I like this one because I love lavender. We have it growing in our backyard.
Emily asked, do you spray the ends? No, you don't need to.
You can. This is where you can wait till the end, or you could, you know, if you're not in a big hurry to complete the design, you could do it here. But I usually just wait till I'm finished, because what I noticed is if you sprayed it when it was just all meshed, you're still going to go back in here and move it. You're going to put your ribbon ties in, you're going to put your sign in, you might add your embellishments. So I wait till I'm all done playing with it, and then I'll spray it. Just paying close attention to the mesh on the outside. But great question. Okay, we are back to the inside right here. So what the inside does is it's basically a filler for the 2 outside pieces. What I mean is in every section you have the middle and you have the two outside. Well, this basically fills in this section in the middle so that these can now like fill in the outside pieces. So when I'm doing my middle, I'm going to go next door and grab the one that we just placed and kind of put that on top. Here's the middle bottom. I'm going to lift this up and then just separate that. So now it's laying half on the middle one. And then the one that we place here will lay on the other half so that these are now touching. Okay, just kind of push those to the side, place that right on top, pull your pipe cleaner up, 2 twists, and then what I like to do is on the edges, I like to kind of fold those a little bit so we're not seeing raw edges because that's where it's going to fray. So just kind of lightly fold those over. And then again, everybody goes to the left. So we're on the outside. This mesh is from Craft Outlet, in case I didn't mention that. This is their fabric mesh. It's not as soft as some fabric mesh I've used, but it's still a really good, thick quality, which is nice. Move these around. Fabric mesh almost sometimes acts like Velcro. It kind of clings, depends on how the edges are finished. Sometimes they don't put that finished edge all the way to the top. Like I know you can't really see this, but there is like these little edges, like little nubs, like Velcro, and that's where it's clinging to the other pieces. So that can get frustrating to work with.
And, all the meshes cut to 20 inches.
Yep. And that will take an entire roll to complete this design. So I'm trying to find designs to where we're using, you know, full rolls if we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll cut this one off and then we'll just kind of push that down. Remember, this is our inside, so we're going to take the one that's right next door and make sure that that's laying on top before we go to the next one. I think you guys will like this design. I wanted it to feel very soft, very feminine. We're going to be integrating some lavender into this design because it's part of our sign here. So a lot of times I'll get my inspiration from what the sign has, whoever designed the sign. So on this one, they used lavender to be that border. Grab one of these. I've got one more to the outside, and then I have a piece I use just to sample and make sure this was the color I wanted before I carved into the entire roll. So do we have anyone new joining us? And if so, where are you guys from? Looks like we're all slated for a warm-up here too.
Yeah.
So ends, twist them towards the back, and then just move them around. Okay, now I've got my middle.
Dan said, hi, Kat. First time I've actually got to watch you in a while. She's not new, but she's hasn't been on for a while.
Oh, welcome back, Jane. So I am giving a shout out to one of my customers who messaged me who successfully weathered through her heart surgery. She asked for a shout out today. So this is my shout out to Catherine McKeever. So glad that you made it through your surgery and now you're well on your way to healing and helping to recover.
Ellen Joyner, I am first time from Western Kentucky. Welcome, Ellen.
Oh, welcome. Okay.
Deanna said, yes, I'm new. My name is Deanna from Tennessee.
Welcome, Deanna. Sure, you guys have a lot of people moving to Tennessee. A lot of people moving out of California.
Hello from New Jersey.
Hi, welcome.
If you're new, let us know you're new, first time, and what state you're from.
You guys might find that you'll find a crafting person here, or sometimes just these conversations just kind of go in a whole different direction when you discover that you have someone on here who's in the same city or close to where you are at as well. Just a couple more.
Sharon said hi, new from Oklahoma.
Hi Sharon, welcome from Oklahoma.
She said hi from Colton, Indiana.
Hi, welcome. I'm always interested, you know, based on random times. It's kind of funny. Do we have anyone from the West that kind of fall into the Pacific time frame schedule? Because I'm always curious, like, what happened to all the people like Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Colorado? I'm wondering if it's because it's past the dinner hour for most people here in the West.
Diana, the 10-inch fabric, natural and cream, is from Craft Outlet.
Yes, it is. And it's a fabric mesh.
Darla from Hemet, California.
Oh, nice. Thanks for joining, Darla. I know right where you're at.
And Linda, who's been on with us for a while, is from Washington State.
3.
Linda Robbins.
Yes. We just had one of my close personal friends just moved to Spokane, Washington. They sold everything and vacated California. But like I told her, I'm like, well, you just gave me a new place to come vacation.
Yep.
Because we still remain friends.
Yeah, she's from Greenery, Texas.
Hi, welcome. Okay, 2 more pieces.
Here's from Las Vegas. Audrey's from Oregon.
Okay. We know where Vegas is. What was the last one, Steve?
Oregon.
Oregon. Nice. I was beginning to think we didn't have any West Coast people here.
Yeah, Linda said Spokane is a great place.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Spokane yet.
You haven't?
I haven't.
Huh. I would have thought out of all the places you've had to travel, you would have hit that one.
Too far north.
Too far north. Yeah.
I've been close to there, but not there.
Okay. So we're back to adding to our middle piece. So we're going to take this one and flip it. And then we've got to save room for the one that we've got to tuck in here.
Jimmy says, I live in Spokane.
Oh, nice.
Deborah, all the pieces are cut to 20 inches.
So we've got one kind of hiding right in here. So this is our last piece.
And so, do you know of anywhere in California that sells supplies? I've been looking.
In California?
Leo, in what city in California are you in?
I know in Southern California,
Yeah.
but not Northern. That doesn't mean that there isn't. Google is a great source for that.
Yep.
Hobby Lobby, Joann's Michaels, basically. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this one. Make sure that this...
Linda says Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nice.
Leon is from Los Angeles. Okay.
Okay.
She's not that far. It's a drivable trip to Shinoda.
Right. So Shinoda Design Center, which is located in Santa Ana. So it's kind of in the Orange County area. But you have to have a business license to shop there. But it's great if you do. Okay, so there is our base. It's all finished. Edge to edge, we're right at 24 inches as far as diameter. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in all the ribbon around the outside, because remember, we've already removed the ribbon that's been on the inside. And we are going to do 2 different ribbon colors. So I'm going to separate these. So we're going to do a natural with gold. And then we're also going to do, it's a really sheer, I'm trying to put it on top so you can kind of see the design through it. It's different shades of tulips in those purple palettes. And then you've also got that avocado or sagey green. This was from Joann's about 3 years ago. And then this, the natural with the gold edge, is from, I think it's Joann's as well, right, Steve?
The gold?
Yes. See, I just buy them. This came at Christmas time. So this was Christmas last year. So yeah, scoring on big ribbon like this for year round. What is that, 25 yards?
2.5 inch natural?
Yeah.
Joann's.
Yeah, I just pulled that one. So Joann's on both the 2.5 inch. These are both cut to 14-inch pieces, and we're going to alternate these all the way around the outside.
And Lynn Drury said, hi, I'm laying in bed watching from Pasadena, Maryland.
Nice.
South of Baltimore. It's my birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lynn. Okay. Go here. We're going to do 2 twists. This is where it pays for a ribbon to be top. I call them top and bottom, so that when you come in and lay your ribbon, it just goes right in. So we're going to make sure that stays nice and fluffy. And then we'll keep going all the way around. See, up and top and bottom. Let's call them top and bottom so that it just lays right in there. Once I go ahead and pinch those right in the inside. Couple good twists. And then you're going to pop the ribbon, because it like concaves initially when you go to twist it in. And we want to make sure that it goes out, like it folds out and over. Do this one. You can tell this is super sheer, but it creates the feeling I wanted this wreath to have. Very soft and billowy. Same thing, pop them up. So this way they lay up and over. And then we'll get them ready for our the ribbon that's going to come in and lay on top of that.
It's always fun when someone has a birthday, because everybody's all, happy birthday, happy birthday.
I know, it's so nice. It's like, yes, it's my birthday.
Cindy asked, how do you decide if you use 1 or 2 ribbons per pipe cleaner? That's what I always use 2. Usually.
Sometimes. In this case, I did what's called a mock-up. It's what I teach my group. And sometimes I even forget to do it. You basically create a very small mock-up of what your design is, but just using a very small piece. And then you kind of place your sign next to it. Like, I wasn't sure on this initial design if I wanted to use a lavender, like a light purple, like the same color of my pipe cleaners. Because when I laid it next to my sign, it looked amazing. But then I was like, well, what kind of ribbon am I going to use? Will purple on purple look good? Or will it just be too much purple? And then if I want to come in with florals, is that going to be too much purple? So by doing that, it really definitely helped me do that. And I need to remember that more, because that's back to basics training for me. That's what I did in the beginning to make sure I didn't like open up 2 or 3 rolls of deco mesh, carve into that, carve into ribbon, thinking I knew what I was going to do. And then by the time you put it all together, you're like, no, there's something about it. I'm just not happy with it. And then you pull everything all apart. So I have a method to prevent you from doing that. So it's what I teach my private group. But our open enrollment is closed right now because we're trying to get things prepared that are going to be like way better when we open the doors, offering a lot more perks. And then you'll learn that as well. I haven't even taught my group members that. They're learning that tomorrow. Because we were moving on with our deco mesh basics, and I was like, wait, you guys don't even know how to do a mock-up. I need to teach that. I forgot. That kind of goes hand in hand with learning. And then you'll find yourself years later going, God, why am I struggling to try to figure out what goes with what? Why is it such a challenge? Am I just over thought out, you know, coming up with designs? It's because you forget to go back to your basics, like basic training. It's what soldiers use to help keep them safe. There's a reason why they're trained so hard. It's because that helps. So today, 5 years later, I had to remind myself, go back. And then I was like, why do I do that to myself? I make it harder than it needs to be when it's super simple. 2 more. 1 of each.
Yes, do you always put your bottom ribbon on first and then go back and add the top ribbon? Yes.
If I'm doing it by myself, if I'm not doing it live, I'll just finish the whole section. Like here, I would just go through, I'd put in my tail, and then I would just go and put whatever I'm going to put on top of that and just kind of keep going.
And this is up tomorrow or Tuesday's class?
You're right, it's Tuesdays. Mondays is business. Yeah.
Leolyn, Kat's private group is closed right now, so you can, if you want to, you can put a request in and she can put you on a waiting list.
So we can, right when we open that, it's going to be, when we open it, it's going to be a really short window. So I think we're going to try to, I don't want to overshoot myself, so I'm just going to just say it's coming. So get on the wait list, and then that way you'll be notified the minute the cart is open, and then you can sign up.
They said, yeah, Kat, you did teach the private group to mock up. I used it twice yesterday. It's a huge help.
Kat had to use it today because Kat needed some serious help. Okay, we're also going to take this 1.5 inches. These are cut to 18-inch pieces. We're going to do what's called a half bow. So we're doing the purple on the sheer just to kind of pop that purple color. And then we're going to take this lavender print on natural, and we're going to add that to the natural ribbon. It just looked better than going plain on plain and then print on print. So that's why I decided to break it the way that I did. So half bows, just bring your tails together, and then you're going to go up about 2 inches from here to where you're going to pinch in. We're going to take that. This is where the hand should be sideways now. So it's going to go in, it's going to grip this, and we're going to go ahead and twist this 5 times. And the only reason I twist it so many times is I don't know how it's happened, but sometimes I've come around back on a design that I'm embellishing and it pops open.
Diana said, I just joined the private group. When will we know we have a class? It's on the header.
It is posted at the top of the private group page. Yes, in the banner or header. as some people. And it's Mondays at 5 and Tuesdays at 4 Pacific time. Yep, in case you always forget. That's why we just integrated the times into the banner. That way it was always there. Okay.
And the videos will always be available right after the video for replay.
Okay. So once we cut off our pipe cleaner, we're going to tuck that all the way behind the loop so that you can open that. And then you've got a right side, one of your ribbons. And then you'll see how nice that just lays on there. Because I don't want it to be overwhelmingly purple. I just want it to be a nice, soft, rustic spring look. So the process is always the same. Not like everything, but if I'm doing half bows, the process is always the same. If I'm going to do tails, it's always the same. It's just a long time ago, I noticed that when wreath makers were putting in 2 bows or 2 ribbons, like they would put in a ribbon and then another ribbon, like it would just be kind of like if I folded this in half. It would kind of be in here like this. And I always felt like there was something missing in the whole. Like it needed something. So this is where I came up with half bows, which are like awareness ribbons. I need to go back and do the one in the middle that I missed.
And the half bows are about 2 inches. Kat uses always.
What?
Your bow is 2 inches.
Loop.
Loop. The loop is 2 inches. Right?
Yeah. 2 inches from the top.
Right. Those tails are 18 inches total.
So we'll take this one. We always have to right side 1, right on top. See, I missed this one here because I shouldn't have purple and purple. I should have the lavender in between. Right in here.
The wreath frame is a Dollar Tree 4-inch wreath frame.
And that's that. Like, it's scary to think about it. When you look at that, you're like, what size wreath frame is that? It's like, that's not a 14-inch. Yes, it is. When you take deco mesh, like a 10-inch mesh, and put it across the frame, you're going to get 5 inches on this side and 5 inches on that side. So, using a 10-inch mesh, you should have a 24-inch in diameter base. There we go. Nice little pops of color, and I like the purple on top of the tan. So I do want to see the purple on top. So that is a designer you have a preference for. So I want more purple because you can see how purple here. And then this is kind of more beige. So we're not there yet. There we go. But just because the two are fairly close to each other, you can overlap one on top of the other if you want a more predominant color. Then after this, we'll put our sign on, and then we'll make our bow, and then we'll embellish with our florals. See it like this. I'm going to pull the purple, place the purple on top. See, it's exactly 2 inches. Need the hands to be sideways. It's like a hug. Has he made a mess over there? Yeah. Looks like there's, he has pieces everywhere. Yeah, he's playing. So that on top of that. We're just always making sure everything just kind of folds down like in a little curve. And yes, sometimes the pipe cleaners get in the way. There's that one. There we go. And we're going to go under so this can come over. And it's funny, I had like...
Terry, I just have it zoomed in so you can see how she's putting the ribbons in and doing everything. And I'll zoom out, she'll be able to see, you'll be able to see the whole wreath later.
Yeah, I think I have 3 more of the half bows left. And then you can zoom out.
And the sheer ribbon was also from Joanne's.
Yeah, that was like back in 2018, I believe. I loved it so much. I was like, oh, that just looks so pretty.
Terry, the one will be automatically available in this public group right after the video.
Mm-hmm. It'll get pinned to the top so it's easy for you to find. Okay, a couple more. But as you can see, the process that I do is always the same. This back on top. Last purple one. And who would have thought like just a plain purple would just really tie the whole theme into this one? Because sometimes I think we get so caught up in the pretties that we forget just the simplicity of just a solid color on top of a print and what that can do. There we go. Okay, last lavender one. Okay, we'll take this, bring that back over, allow that to sit. Okay, so now you can zoom out. So we're all done with adding our ribbon tails to the outside. Okay, so now we are going to prep our sign for the design because that's going to go right in the center. So we have to remove the burlap twine that's here. So there's that. We are going to add holes. Now this one's a little bit different because it's it's not flat. So it's got an edge to it, but our hole punch will go right through the side, which is exactly where I'm going to put this one. So I'm going to take my beadsmith metal hole punch. I'm going to pop a hole right there in the side, just like that. Go right over to the other side. Punch a hole. Would have helped if I had my floral wire out. Used it for another sign today, but put it away. Okay, so this is 22 gauge floral wire. So it's fairly thick. I love using it when I'm using a fabric mesh or any mesh that has the natural fibers, because everything gets cut on the fibers as you're trying to push those through.
Michelle, that's true. She's going to try to throw 1 to 2 solids in every wreath because it helps with the cost.
Yes.
And you can also buy 50-yard rolls.
Yes.
You can see those vertical strands.
Yes.
Rita, that's like a 12 on the sign, isn't it? Like 11 and a half?
Yeah, it's 11.75.
7, yeah.
That's like a weird, I'm like, let's just round up. It's a 12-inch sign. So we're building this from the back. So I try to just create a little bit of a base for this. Just like that. And we'll go right over to the other side. Kind of make sure.
Hey Vicki, no problem. She said just getting in. Oh my gosh, rivers are perfect. Where did the sign come from? Craft Outlet.
Yes. Sign is from Craft Outlet. 4, 5. Okay. So we are going to be tucking that in. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be pulling my ruffles back. Just like this. And I'm looking for the interior pipe cleaners that we had. So there's one, because remember I've pulled my, we cut the pipe cleaners off. So I'm going to go ahead and use this because I know that it is right to my frame. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these forward. I'm just going to put a light, like 1.5 twists, just in case I have to move or readjust that, which means there's our other pipe cleaner right in here. So we're going to use this one as well. Yes, it's directly across. I'm like, it didn't feel like it was directly across. There we go. So I'm going to gently pull these ones out of the way. Kind of, sometimes they get way tucked in. Okay. It should right itself once I get that position, and then I'll fix the top once we're there. So that's perfect. So I can go ahead and twist that on there a couple good times. And then here is where I will be pulling. See why we don't spray first? Because I've got to get my mesh out of the way. There we go. Because we need to frame this. Which means you need to find that mesh that was under there. And we're going to soften that edge so we don't have this harsh edge right here. So that's why the ruffle technique is also good. Now we always have to readjust any ribbons that are in the way. Keep coming around. Find this one, just here. This one's kind of tucked way into there. There we go. Everybody likes to be overly clingy. Here's this one. Fix this. Fix this. As we come around. There we go. Then we're making a home for him. And then this area, I'm not going to worry so much because this is where our bow is going. So I'm going to take all my ruffles from right here on the side. So I have a nice, if I don't, I have to push all my ruffles around. So now my sign will sit right. And then this gives me a nice area to build my bow. So that's what it looks like from here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and build our bow for that area so that we can have some of the loops kind of cascade over here. We don't have anything that's going to impact the sign, and we want to make sure we can still see the rabbit and the words right here. So this home makes sense for this design. So let's set this aside. And I'm going to grab all of our ribbon. Okay, we need our 1.5 inches. So we're going to start with that. And I'm going to use my Bow Dabra. So we have our 1.5 inches solid purple. We have our lavender on natural. We have these two, which are our 2.5 inches, both from Joann's. This purple gingham is from Burton & Burton. I had a lot of it left over from before. And then the purple, and it's like a dotted line, but this is from Personally Yours, which is at plywreathsigns.com. So I'm going to start with the beige, because that'll give us a base for that sheer purple.
Terry has to usually use fabric mesh mostly? You use all different types.
Yeah, I use all. Like if I'm doing rustic, it's either going to be the jute burlap or it's going to be a fabric mesh.
Okay, the signs from Craft Outlet.
So we're going to start with 10-inch tails. So I've dovetailed my end, and I didn't show you guys how to do that. I apologize for that. I'll show you when I'm finished with this ribbon. So we're going to twist, and then the twist just goes right in between. Since this doesn't have a right and wrong side fabric, neither does a purple sheer, everything is just going to be like a twist. So we would start with the right side up and then work with the wrong side, so that as we bring it up and around, it would create the right side. So we want 5.5-inch loops. We don't want to go overly big on the loops for this particular design. So I take my Bow Dabra, place it right on the 10. That way, when I pull my ribbon length out, I want to see that it's at 5.5 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. And I always just guess until I line it up. Stretch it out. See, it came up a little bit short there. So we're just going to pull a little bit more out until we're right at 5.5. And then we're going to go back out for our tail on the opposite side. And this is where we will do the dovetail, which is just bring your wired edges together. This is our destination point. So wherever you want to come on the fold, we're always going to be aiming for the end of our wired edge. Depending upon how deep you like your V, determines where you're going to start to cut. You could have it really, you know, a short, like not very deep. I like mine fairly deep. So I just kind of pick a good halfway point, and then you have your perfect finished edge. So there's one down. Okay. Stack those over there. Let's see if there's enough on here. Here's the thing with the Joann's ribbon. Like when I bought it, and this is 2018, it was only 12 feet. So 12 feet doesn't give you an awful lot. So we shall see. Let me do this way. So I'll go 10 just to make sure I have enough. There's 5. There's 5. And let's see. Yeah, I have enough. Okay. I just had to make sure before I went in and cut my ribbon that I had enough. So we'll dovetail this. Okay. This one's only going to be 9.5 inches in, which is right where I was doing that. We're going to twist. And then our ribbon loop is only going to be 5 inches this time. We're taking it down a whole 1/2 inch, both in the tail length and in the loop length from here to here, 5 inches. Other side, make sure we've got 5 inches. It's a little longer. And then 9.5. Dovetail. And there you go. That's what I have left. Not very much. So that's done. Not even worth saving. a long time ago, a part of me probably would have been like, well, I could probably figure out some way to use that. No. Okay, so let's look at the rest. So this is what we have to work. And I think I'm going to break the party up. And I think, do I want, I'm trying to think. Let me see.
Rowena said if you didn't have enough, would you substitute with something else?
Oh yeah, I did that on a wreath that I'm working on that's still sitting on my kitchen table. I hate all the ribbons I picked. Because I went around and cut all the tails, but then I would get to like 5 and I needed the 6th one. I'm like, ugh, there's not enough ribbon. And that was a discontinued ribbon and I can't use that ribbon anymore. So yes, I'm waiting for new ribbon to come in. Trying to debate what my color combination is. I'm not exactly loving that, so let's sometimes just mix it up. That one's better. So I think that's the way I'm going to let it roll with the lavender print to the outside. I always go for something pretty on the very last ribbon because this is the first one you see when you look at your bow. So we're going to use this. And I always make sure. Sometimes when I look at ribbon, it seems like I'm looking at a split because I'm just so used to seeing those now. So this is going to be 9 inches in. And it does kind of have a right side and a wrong side. Might be kind of hard to see on camera, but it does have a wrong side. This is kind of a pale purple. And these are going to be 4.5 inch tails. Always measure 4.5. And then 4.5. Let's double check that. 4.5. And then back out to 9. This is a really thick ribbon. So it's not a satin, but it's probably like a really thick polyester blend, believe it or not. And since the other one ran out, we have a pin for this one. Okay, now we're going to go with our lavender. So the lavender is from Kringle Designs. That's where I bought a lot of my 50-yard or 100-yard spools. I highly recommend that you do that. If you have all of your basic solids, you really have, you know, if purple is totally out, but you have a light purple and a dark purple, and maybe a light green and a dark green, or a tan, or white, you pretty much could have done the whole design just with solids. So we're going to go 8.5 in for our ribbon tail length. And we're going to do the same. We're going to do 4.5 inches for our loop length. So right there. Since we measured the bottom one already, I don't have to remeasure the top one. I'm just putting my finger inside the loop from the top and then pull. And then we need to make sure the tail length is right at 8.5.
We only have the 1.5 lavender solid is from Kringle Design.
So Kringle, like Kringle with K, K-R-I-N-G, or K, yes, K-R-I-N-G-L-E, designs.us. Yeah, which probably means that .com and .net were taken. I'm thinking when they got their website. Well, that's usually what happens. Come up with the name, and then we go look for the website, and then find out it's taken. And then this, the gingham came from Burton & Burton, but you can get gingham from Craft Outlet, whatchamacallit, the Wreath Shop, Trendy Tree, Deco Exchange. Just if you can't find it, Google it. You know, purple and white gingham. So we're going to go at 8. We're going to twist. And this one's going to be 4-inch loops. So go 4. We're right there. So again, we're back to a 1/2 inch down. Bring that in right at 4, and then back out to 8. And then we'll dovetail this, and then we're on our last one. There's that. Trying to make sure I wind it on there straight, because no one has time to get wrinkles out of ribbon. And then our lavender. Okay. And this is from Craft Outlet as well. So 7.5 is our last ribbon tail length. And this is going to be 3.5 inches for our loop length. So right there, 3.5 and 3.5, I would bet. Yep, but let's fix this so we don't have to deal with a pinched end. There we go. And 7.5 right there. And then we're ready to build our bow and then place that on the wreath. Okay, we are done with that. Cooking with gas, as Steve would say. We are cooking with gas. Let's get a lavender color pipe cleaner. So I always put it in a U before I pull the stack out, because it's kind of hard to do it after you are holding the stack in your hand. So you pick everything up, just kind of give it a shake, and you're just going to position your pipe cleaner right down the middle, and then twist the stack. Okay, and that's there. My giant fluff board, aka bow presentation board. This is what I call it. So this is just a 24-inch by 24-inch by 1-inch thick wood board with a C-hook in it. So I just use this because it's easier to fluff a bow on a surface that's flat, because technically it's going to go on our wreath. It's somewhat flat. And it also makes a nice presentation. So here, we're just going to hook this hook right under my pipe cleaner. So it's just going to go right in here, right around my pipe cleaner. So it just keeps my ribbon from sliding completely off. So I can still, you know, swish it, but it's not going to go anywhere. And then now we're just going to separate from the top. We're going to separate a tail from a loop. So we're going to go loop to the left, tail to the right, go over to the other side and go opposite. So you're going to put tail to the left, loop to the right. So that if you're looking at it, the tails are opposite and the loops are opposite. Now you're going to bring down your next set. So we're going to put our loop here. So we're doing loop to the right, tail to the left, go to the opposite side. That's super easy. We're just going to bring our tail over here, and we're going to leave our loop here, so that we have like, it's alternating the pattern. So we've got tail, tail, loop, loop, tail, tail, loop, loop. And then we're just going to bring the rest of the stack down. So we're going to go back to loop to the left, tail to the right, back over. We're going to do our loop here and our tail here. Go back over. We're going to go opposite. So we're going to do loop to the right, tail to the left, back over. So that means our tail comes here and our loop goes there. Back over here, we're going to follow the purple and white pattern. Exactly. And then back over here, opposites. Okay. And then finally, we're finishing with our lavender. And I'm just straightening out where it's sitting. And then I'm just going to flip that back here, and then here, and here. So everything is now separated. You have loops, loops, and all the tails. And then we're going to start from the top and work our way down in fluffing. So you're just going to place your fingers inside the loops and lift up, okay? It's not going to go anywhere because it's hooked to the board. So here, we're going to lift our loop up, lift our loop up, okay? And then as you're building it, you can decide, kind of like, do I want the purple in the middle? Because I'm seeing it at the top. Kind of looks pretty like that. So I'm going to move my loop around. Make sure I can get my finger in there. Lift it up and out. Here it is here. Up and out. And then I'm going to pull my solid lavender off to the side. So that's going to put that here. Then we're going to do our bottom one. And then don't forget the bottom one here. Okay.
Yeah, the 1.5" solid came from Pringle Design. And my friend made her that board.
And then this. And then now I'm going to do something about the lifeless tails. So you're just going to remember curling ribbon with our scissors. Your fingers are going to be your scissors. So you're just going to run that through. Look at how nice that just folds back into a nice curl. All the way. So I'm taking it about as far as I can get my fingers in there to put that curl back in. This ribbon just does not have an awful lot of life to it. So back under here, back under, and then you can do the 2.5 more when you actually have it on the wreath, because it's a little harder to do it here. But look at how pretty that makes that bow look. This is why I call it bow presentation board, because it just makes the ribbons all look really pretty. Because how else are you supposed to take a picture of a bow? It's like flat on a table, flat on a counter. It just doesn't look right. So yeah. Okay, so there's our bow. Done. And we're just going to take it off the same way we pushed it on. You're just going to find that little hook and push it off. And then this gets stored back where it belongs, which is alongside my fridge. So it doesn't take up any crafting space at all. So we're going to pull this over and we're going to add our bow. Before I do that, I'm going to look and see which way do I want my bow to be. And I think I want my bow to be like here. This is kind of where I want my loops to fall. So that's kind of where it's going to sit.
Jane says, for some reason my bow will never stay under the hook. It always comes out. Do you have any tips?
Why your bow won't stay under the hook? You shouldn't have a problem with it staying in there. I'm trying to think. Like, I've never had mine come out.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, I thought you said, yeah, you have. I was like, I have? I think it stays in there. Maybe you have it down too far, because you kind of need it to sit up a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe when you like hooked it on the board, maybe screwed it down a little too far.
She has her pipe cleaners in there pretty tight. So maybe your pipe cleaner isn't tight enough. It could be a little bit loose, and then that's why it comes off.
So when I'm placing my bow in here, I'm not going down all the way to the frame, because if I did that, I would collapse all that work that we just did. So I am going to move one of my ruffles that is right here and down and under. Push that back under my sign so that I can get my ribbon to lay flat. It was like way up in the air. So these ones are okay because they're cascading up and over the top. Same thing here. Kind of cascading those. And we need to breathe some more light back into those. We need to alter the direction of our bow. We can definitely do that. Okay. And as a designer, you are inclined to make different decisions. If you don't like the way something is laying, pick it up, move it. Let's get this to open. I just don't want my bow to sink down too far. And we tuck that edge so this can lay on top. Okay. We always gotta just fiddle, 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 fiddle. So I'm gonna pull this back just a little bit. There we go. Trying to position that so it doesn't impede on the sign. But we also don't want the bow cascading off over the side either. There we go. Okay, let's embellish a little bit. So there's that. So of course, as we're placing bows, our little loops get kind of smashed. But let me show you super simple what we're going to do to embellish and pull that lavender in. So this lavender I have is from Sims Pottery. Sims is only available if you have a wholesale license, or not a wholesale license, a business license. So this is called a lavender bush, and as part of my design, when I initially thought this up, we are going to be adding these little sprigs of lavender to our outside bows. So what I'm going to do is just glue the ends right here. Just put a dab of glue there. And these are going to go right here. I'm going to move my deco mesh down. So it's going to just kind of pop out the either side of the loop. Just like that. Okay. This pick is awfully long. So I'm just snipping these off, and they're getting just kind of like a lavender sprig placed under each. So up and over the top. Now I'm kind of fell to my mat right here. There we go. And this is perfect because it just kind of ties that whole little lavender theme all the way around our design. Let's take these these off so we have a couple to work with. And I can get rid of this giant stem. So this big lavender bush is probably some of the nicest lavender I've seen. Just like that. You guys are awful quiet. Even you're quiet. Okay.
Then Janice, do you tie your bow to the frame? Yes.
Yes. The bow actually is on the frame right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
if she can hit a cross section, she'll definitely hit a cross section.
Yeah, you always want to make sure it's like around either side. So I just like the way that that looks. It's still keeping it a little bit spring.
This, where do you get all the purple ribbon? Because I have that sign. The 1.5 lavender ribbon is from Craft Outlet, and the 2.5 purple sheer ribbon is from Jones.
The 1.5 purple is from Kringle. The purple solid is Kringle.
Well, I said the 1.5 natural with the lavender is from Craft Outlet.
Yes, this is Craft Outlet. This is Kringle. Joann's. Yeah. Joann's. So always make sure you fluff up your ribbons, get everything in the right place where it needs to be. And we're just kind of giving them a little bit of sprigs of lavender. I'm going to take.
Yeah, it's a ruffle design.
We're going to pull those apart. Cut a couple more of these off. So I'm just adding 2 to every single one of the 12. Trying to make sure that they're getting laid in there so they look appropriate. Like I don't want them, this one should have kind of gone up and down like that. Same thing here. What do you guys think of the addition of the lavender? Adding the lavender to the outside. So we want to make sure that this is pretty before we add our ribbons. Out, out. There we go. So this was part of my mock-up, was adding these little sprigs of lavender to the half bows to kind of pull that look in.
Susan said perfect with the lavender.
Awesome. Well, then we know we did that one right. And I'm a huge purple fan anyway. So working on an all purple design, for some reason it's like it's easy to get purple ribbon, but it's downright difficult to get ribbon that's like pink themed. Like they don't have pretty pink ribbon like this. It's always like some weird hot pink, or there's no like soft pastels. It's really hard to find. So this yields quite a bit. And that wasn't even a full, what they call a bush. Okay. Grab another 2. Get rid of that one. And I'm just kind of going all the way around the stem. Just adding those in. Oop, just grabbed that one and pulled it all the way out. But that's a good opportunity to get in there and fix our blue. I know we've got one way up underneath here. Let's just grab the ones that are over here first. Let me finish these.
And she really gets her burlap and ribbon from all over the place. She mainly buys from Craft Outlet.
If I can.
Yeah, but she really gets it all over the place, wherever she can find it for a good price.
Really. Trying to make sure I pull all my glue threads out of the way. Okay, let's get, we have one right here. So I think I need 4 more. So there's 1, 2, come on, 3, there's 5. Well, that one's done. So that was like a really nice pick. There you go. Hi. One there. One in there.
And that 10-inch fabric mesh, it's natural and cream, it's from Craft Outlet.
Need to do that ribbon. It just seems like it needs a little pretty. Okay. Got one way underneath here, so we're gonna open these up so our bow's not so flat and hanging off the side. We're gonna go ahead and put these up underneath. And one more. Okay. Let's see what we think. Trying to maneuver my mesh around. There we go.
Right, Sharon.
So what do you guys think?
Yeah, you can put one more.
I know, I'm not finished. But thank you. I will. You can tell me when I'm there. I do want to add some.
This is beautiful, and purple is my favorite color.
To the bow.
Same with cat.
Yeah. Complete opposite, right? So we're going to add some sprigs of that. So that's exactly the way that it comes. So we'll take a grand total of 3 off here. Let's grab this one. We're going to lift and kind of tuck that inside. And we'll add one more piece. As soon as I get it, not like a big giant glob, but enough that we can have these little pieces of lavender. though I don't like to see all the little spider web glue threads. What do you guys think? You've been so quiet. Let me spin that around. What all do you think?
Beautiful. Moments are beautiful. Students are beautiful. This is beautiful. I love it. They're giving lots of hearts and lights.
Nice. So, just looking. I want to add a couple pieces here to the outside. I'm just setting them there. They're not staying there. I'm just like trying to figure out. Couple. See, some of these are just so, like this works in the fact that you can see it. Granted, it won't look like that. This one down here you don't see, but I have to remember that I'm looking down, so it's going to be facing you on the door. So a lot of times what you don't see when you're looking down, you will see when you're looking at it straight, front and center. Let me snip a couple more off. Like that. I like that. So I think I'm going to, that's gonna kind of be like that. And then these will kind of be their own little entity from the bottom. But I like that. So let's just add these before I forget where they were. So these will tie the lavender that we've added in around the outside to the sign, and just adding those little touches around the sign. Just like that. We'll do this one down here. Do the bottom one first. One more glue stick.
Students can't wait to learn how to do the mock-up tomorrow.
Well, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I forgot.
Right.
Tuesday's design. So tomorrow's business. So it will be Tuesday at 4. So that'll be a super simple class, but I love it because it'll forever change what you do so that you're not wasting a ton of materials. Okay, we're gonna go. What? Yeah, it's funny because originally I thought I was gonna add tulips to this, but I don't think so. So I always bring a ton of stuff out thinking, well, will I have enough room for this? Will I have enough room for that?
Sandy said, hi Kat, I love your work. Would love to take classes from you, but don't know where to start. I'm a newbie from Florida. Well, you got to start somewhere. Sign up for her private group.
It's on a wait list right now.
Yeah.
But just go to my website, which is KatsCreationsNMore.com, and click, there's a link at the very top that says sign up for my private group here. Click on that link and then it'll take you to a wait list page. And then make sure you get your name on the wait list so that we can reach out and email you when it opens. Again, we just closed it because we're trying to put some processes in place and trying to help members get the most out of things. So I want to make sure that it's a really good overall benefit all the way around. I'm going to add some meadow grass. So these little purple It's like a little purple plant thing. I've had this left over from something. So these are just one of those, hey, I'm not going to throw it away because I'll probably figure out a place to use those. So I'm going to incorporate that. So I'm going to glue those in. And then,
Since I think the lavender was a perfect touch, better than the tulips. Yeah.
I agree. So I'm just looking. So sometimes you just need something small, something soft, just to kind of add. So I'm taking, I have white and I also have purple. So I'm adding a piece of the white to kind of tie our sign in. I'll figure that out once I get over there, but yeah, I think I like that. And I think that's where I'll stop. So let me add my little sprig of purple to this. Pull that one out.
Oh, thank you, Emily. She said you are my most favorite wreath maker and teacher. Thank you. We are blessed.
Oh, thanks so much, Emily. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I know we're kind of going a little bit long, but when I get to the florals, I don't want florals to just become like something you just kind of throw into the design for like filler. I want it to feel like it has a place. Why is it there? And not just to fill. So adding a little bit of the meadow flowers, it's like adding that little touch of sage green that's just in the sign from the lavender leaf part. So it's just kind of integrating the sign with our florals. Kind of giving it a 3D look.
No worries, Gloria. This will be available right when it's done for replay.
Yeah, I'm just about finished. I'm adding my last one in right there, just because there was a hole there. That's why. But I can't wait to get pictures of this in that first golden hour of morning that you have where the sun just looks great. You could have like the worst bad picture day, and then just the right lighting just changes everything. So this is all done. This is available for sale on my website. So if you like it, want to purchase it, are you getting rid of the glare?
Yeah.
Okay. KatsCreationsNMore.com. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Can't wait to teach you something amazing. We're doing all floral next Friday. So join me on Friday where we're going to work with florals to create another one-of-a-kind design for spring. All right, everyone, have a great night, and I'll talk to you then. Bye.